Welcome back to another super awesome mix. My name is Matt Sidhom, and my guest today is an actor who has over 100 credits in both television and film over the last 20 years, including appearances in The Tomorrow War, Deepwater Horizon, and most recently in the blockbuster Sinners. This is Dave Maldonado. Dave, welcome to Super Awesome Mix.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
All right. Now, Dave, you've been acting a long time. I was just kind of blown away by your resume. I'm sure it was harder than maybe it looks on the page there when you're doing so many different things. But I mean, in kind of going back and forth messaging with you, you kind of use that as inspiration for your mix here today, right?
Yeah. This was difficult. This was like, you know, I, to because I was trying to set up a kind of a baseline kind of outline for what I wanted to, and it was all over the place. I was including my family, and I was doing this, and I was like, oh man, all none of this goes together. But yeah, so I narrowed it down, and yeah, I think I got a very diverse
I think
sort of
so.
esoteric list here.
Yeah, you did a
Um,
great job, and I think some of these are movies and projects that you've been a part of, like songs from them, and then I believe some of them were just kind of movies you admire or maybe are associated with in other ways. Correct?
yes. So I got a connection to a lot of these different. Some I was involved in, and some that I just really love the movie or just really love the song, and don't really know, don't even remember the movie necessarily. I just
Yeah,
like, oh, I just remember that song and how it affected me in different parts of my life. So yeah.
nice. All right, well, let's get into it. Track one. This is from the movie Sinners, which I just mentioned. It is "Will Ye Go, Lassie Go" by Lola
Yes.
Kirke, Jack O'Connell, and Peter Dreams.
Yeah. And yeah, so the funny thing about this, I when I went showed up for the table read
Hmm.
for Sinners, not everybody was there, but most of the stars were there. Haley Steinfeld was there, Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Coogler, um, and when you have a smaller role in a film, when you go to the table read, a lot of times they'll have you. Would you mind reading for a few of these other characters?
Mm,
I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And
yeah.
they gave me a list, and I got the casting director next to me. I'm talking to her, and I'm looking at all the roles I have to read for, and I'm like, okay, I'm reading, and I read through it, and they had me singing in the table read, and I looked at the casting director. I was like, you got me singing? It's like y'all crazy. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just wing it. And I'm sitting there, and I get to that part, and I'm singing really badly, and I'm singing to Haley Steinfeld across from me.
Right, right.
So it was a very surreal kind of situation. And then I see the movie, and the music in this movie is just, I mean, it blew me away. And this particular scene in the movie, Haley Steinfeld's going out without revealing too much about the plot, but she goes out and meets these guys, and she's trying to kind of uh, form a relationship with them to try to get them some money for the juke joint, and they're singing this song, and the song is so beautiful, and the scene is so creepy, and
Yes.
it's such a kind of juxtaposition, I guess, of these two worlds, these very ominous kind of vampire images, but they're singing this really, really sweet, beautiful song, and it's like, yeah, just come on, it's okay. And it just, oh man, and hanging out with those guys at the Ludwig Göransson, who did most of the music for the movie,
Hmm.
and I see him at the at the premiere, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know who that is, and then lo and behold, it's like, yeah, he's responsible for a lot of this great music, and yeah,
Yeah,
so it was cool.
the music in that movie is just unreal. And this one, if you just listen to it on its own, it's just this beautiful song, right? And it's beautifully
Yeah,
sung, right? And then, but in the context of the movie, it's like, boy, things are really going to get a little nutty right after this moment.
yeah, yeah. It's and that's another thing about the table read. I hadn't read the script yet, so I
Okay.
showed up and I read the whole thing. All I had was my scene, and I didn't really
Yeah.
know what was going on. And about 3/4 of the way through the table read, the vampires show up, and I'm like, I looked around the room, and I'm like, really?
Did anybody else know this was coming? Am I the only?
Yeah, it's like, and to be honest, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, okay, like, I know you did Black Panther and Creed and all that, it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, this is ambitious,
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler.
It was
Um,
it's a very different movie, but it kind of all comes together. It just kind of works, I feel like. And I think the music's such a big part of it. So I'm so glad you included a song from that on your mix. I did have a question when you're, because early on, like one of your scenes is you're acting with both Michael B. Jordan characters. Now,
right.
when you film that with an actor who's playing two characters, do you do it twice? Do you do it once? Does he do it? Like, how do they do that?
Yeah. So he had a stand-in.
Okay.
Um, and so we would do the entire scene with the stand-in playing one character and Ryan playing the other. And we would do the scene, and then they would go away. They would change. They would come back, and Ryan would play the other role. Um, and it's really hard to grasp what's happening when you're on set and you're going through it. I'm just trying to remember my lines and not screw up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then plus they had all these kind of CGI kind of all this equipment that you could see in
Yeah.
the behind the scenes that helped them with all this. But it was a monumental task to get all that done, all these complicated shots in the
Yeah.
Louisiana heat. Um, but yeah, so they just and the guy who's standing in did a great job. And yeah, it was they just and Ryan Michael never got been out of shape. He's in these suits.
Yeah.
He has to go and change and come back and do it again. And he was so
And those
cool the
suits are
entire
probably
time.
super hot in that Louisiana heat too,
Yeah,
right? I'm
yeah.
sure your suit was pretty hot as well, right?
Well, I had just a shirt and tie on,
Okay.
and but I was sweating through that bad boy pretty quick.
All right. Well, let's go to track two. And this was from another movie you were in, Deepwater Horizon. This is In Due Time by Killswitch Engage.
Yeah. So this song is not in the movie, but when I was shooting that in New Orleans, again, I'm in Louisiana. I was just going through a lot of anxiety, and this was kind of my first big role in a movie.
Hmm.
I had done lots of small roles in big TV shows and movies, and bigger roles in smaller projects. This was kind of my first kind of sink or swim moment. Peter Berg is the director, and you know, an A-list cast: Mark Wahlberg, John Malkovich, Kurt
Yeah.
Russell. So it was a little bit overwhelming, and then the schedule was all over the place. We didn't know what we were shooting day to day. Um, Plus, I'll be 2 years sober in this month. So
Congratulations.
thank you so much. That wasn't the case then. I was kind of
Yeah.
indulging in everything Louisiana, especially New Orleans, had to
Yeah.
offer, eating everything and drinking everything. And so that wasn't helping my mental health. And this song and Killswitch Engage, this was kind of when I was introduced to Killswitch with this song. And I listened to the whole album, great album. And then I kind of backtracked to their other stuff. And a lot of it's really hard, heavy music, a lot of powerful riffs, but it's a lot of positivity. It's the guys in the band have went through their own struggles, and they talk about overcoming those things. And yeah, it's they were around in a time when I was struggling, and kind of got me through that. So I would listen to that, go to the gym, and just kind of get ready to give my best on set with these icons of
Yeah.
film and TV. So
That's great. And I also love that because, metal is not necessarily known for being positive, like you said,
yeah,
because a lot of times people don't even hear the lyrics or dig in and take the time to listen to the lyrics. So, but metal, like any genre, kind of has a range of
yeah,
outcomes, right?
yeah,
And so I love that because this one just, one, it's just got a ton of energy. So I just love,
yeah.
that part of it and get you kind of fired up. But yeah, they definitely can have some positive messaging too. So I think that's awesome that it kind of
Absolutely.
brought that to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I listen to a lot of the metal that I listen to is there's a lot of positive every day at the gym. I'm listening to this stuff, and most of it I gravitate toward the stuff that's it's darker. It's about overcoming
Yeah.
the darkness in you and a positive outlook. And yeah, once you get past the screams and the you dig into the lyrics, it's pretty positive stuff.
Can be uplifting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that that one was sandwiched between track one and then now track three, which was Big Rock Candy Mountains by Harry
Yeah.
McClintock.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's first of all, fantastic movie.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, brother, where art
uh,
thou?
oh brother, where art thou? It's some of these guys don't get enough credit. The John Turturro and those guys, kind of the goofy, that they're known as gifted actors. But if you're good looking, like George Clooney or Ryan Gosling, they're like, oh yeah, you know he's a sex symbol. He's a movie star, but
Yeah.
fantastic actor. And
Yeah.
that was one of the movies where he really showed that how gifted he is in comedy in this really quirky movie. And yeah, just that song. It's about you're in a prison, you're working and you're doing all these things and you're running from the law, and there's all these elements that you dream about, in the Big Rock Candy Mountains, and it's just about being thankful for what you have. And these people that they didn't have any of that; they just dreamt of it, and they have this line where it's, hey, in the Big Rock Candy Mountains, you never change your socks, and the little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks. It's you know there's a lake of stew and whiskey too. You can paddle all around it in a big canoe. It's just this kind of dreamlike sequence where you're just dreaming of what could be. You know what I mean? So yeah, it just I listen to stuff like that, just kind of keep things in perspective. Be be thankful for what you have and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The whole soundtrack for "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" was
Yeah,
so unique. I mean, the movie is unique, and then the soundtrack itself was so unique with kind of that old, not quite bluegrass, kind of Americana sort of feel to it. Folk. It was a whole bunch of different genres kind of mashed together. I feel like, but
yeah.
yeah, this was a great pick off of just a great soundtrack.
Yeah, and we actually went to the concert, the Oh Brother concert,
Yeah.
shortly after this movie came out, and saw all these artists uh, live, and which was Ralph Stanley and all these other great artists, and yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, it is not George Clooney singing in that movie. He was just lip
Right,
syncing there, right?
exactly.
All right, track four. This is Chevrolet Van by the Nude Party, and I believe this is from Tulsa King.
Yeah. Also, a song that's not in the show,
Hmm.
but I again was kind of in a weird time. I was in Oklahoma City shooting Tulsa King, and I was looking for something to do, and I looked up what concerts are in the area, and these guys were playing locally, and I was like, all right, let me see what they're about. And the video for Chevrolet Van came on. I'm like, oh my god, these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So I got tickets and I went, and it's in this little like a rec room almost, this
Uh huh.
tiny room, and with this little stage. And I'm like, okay, well, and the opening act came on, and it was a band called Ceramic Animal,
Okay.
and they blew me away. I was like, oh man, these guys are incredible too. Um, so after their set, I actually missed a lot of the Nude Party set because I was hanging out with the guys from Ceramic Animal,
Oh, nice.
um, you know, outside drinking and smoking cigarettes with them, and I really connected with these guys. They were so cool, and kind of got to talk to them about what I was going through, and they were like very, they listened, and and we just kind of connected, so that whole experience of hanging out with those guys, and I bought the albums that day. I got them to sign it, um, and just yeah, that it was a really profound experience to hang out with those guys, listen to what they do. their art that they're, sharing with the world. And yeah, has nothing to do with Tulsa King, but that's where I experienced
But
it.
that's where you were. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. This is such a cool song. And I also kind of, when I heard it, I mean, I'm sure you kind of related to it in the profession that you're in, because the lyrics are kind of like, hey, why don't you get a real job type thing? And
Yeah.
I'm sure in
Yeah.
your younger days, before you started getting steady acting work, you probably heard that a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't want anybody to know. Like when I decided that I was going to pursue acting, I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't want anybody to know this. It's like something that I'm going to keep to myself. Uh, because it was South Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's the being an actor. You could be a theater actor locally, and do
Yes.
those kind of things, but it was just kind of a pipe dream to actually succeed as an actor in film and television at that time. Louisiana definitely grew after that and became kind of a big shooting location. But yeah, over the years, I got more and more proud to share the fact that, most people, like, they're just going to scoff at my dreams and what I'm pursuing.
Yeah.
But yeah, more and more people are like, oh man, that's so cool. Like, that's so cool. You're doing that. And what have you, have I seen you in anything? I'm like, well, it kind of depends what you've seen, I guess. So, but yes, the more I got to work steadily and realize that it was something I really enjoyed and I was good at and had a chance to be successful at, I didn't see it as as a liability anymore. It was something that, I could actually do and be successful at.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, and I get the same thing kind of when I started doing this podcast. I didn't tell that many people, but like we're coming up on episode 200, and I went to like a high school reunion last year, and somebody came up to me. I was like, "Hey man, I listened to your podcast." And I was like, "No way." And I hadn't even told him. He just kind of like stumbled upon it. And I was like, "This is awesome." So anyway, I hear you,
Yeah.
man. You
Very
got to
cool.
hang in
Very
there.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, track 5. This is Song for Bob by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. And it's from the movie The
Yes.
Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
Yes. So, and I don't remember much about this movie. Um, I remember I enjoyed it, but this particular piece of music just kind of moved me. It's so haunting, um, and I just remember, maybe, gosh, it must have been about 20 years ago. I was in New Iberia, where I'm from. I'm at my mom's house, um, and I just, I couldn't sleep, and I got up, and I just kind of started walking around my neighborhood. It was like 4 a.m, and listening to music. And this song came on, and I'm just walking around. It's pre-dawn. It's still
Hmm.
dark out. I'm walking around my neighborhood. I walk around my old elementary school. I'm walking around all these places that I remember as a kid with this song playing, and it just kind of it was a cool experience, and it just put things in perspective. Of how music can move us, and just where we came from and how far we've come. It was cool. It was surreal.
I love that. And I think I've probably had a similar experience, at least in the sense of like music sticking with you that's distinctly from a movie, but you don't necessarily know much about that, or remember
Right.
much about that movie. It's just like, wow, this song really, really sticks with you for whatever reason. I feel like The Mission, I don't know if you remember that movie, but the soundtrack to that is very like, I don't know, kind of swelling and kind of in the same like inspiration. I always found that very inspirational, but like I don't remember much about the movie, right? So it's
Right.
one of those things. So totally get that. But no, I
Yeah.
love that. All right, track 6. This is I Just Don't Think I'll Get Over You by Colin Hay from the soundtrack to
Colin.
Garden State.
Yeah, Colin Hay, the lead singer of Men at Work.
Yes.
Um, and I love this movie. I remember everything about the movie, and I remember the soundtrack was amazing. Um, and this particular song um, just has a really great line. It's super super simple. I remember telling somebody about it at work. I was like, man, this line is so cool, profound and simple. And they're like, yeah, that's dumb. I'm like, what do you? It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, oh, you don't get it. You don't get it. So he says, I drank. I drink coffee in the morning that comes from a place that's far away. I drink good coffee in the morning from a place that comes far away. And when I'm done, I feel like talking. Without you here, there's less to say, and it's just, to me, that's, so simple, so profound. Um, and yeah, like I said, that the entire soundtrack is amazing. I remember talking with somebody. I was in Atlanta shooting, and I was just talking with this girl at the bar, and turns out she was a soundtrack kind of snob, kind of a soundtrack elitist.
Okay.
And we just started talking about music and soundtracks and she was like, "Well, what do you think's a good soundtrack?" I was like, "Well, Garden State's amazing." She's like, "Oh God, like."
Wait, she didn't like it?
You don't know good soundtracks. I'm like, all right, well.
Well, everyone loves this soundtrack. Yeah. Like, this is one of those, like, when you talk about movie soundtracks, this is one of the first ones I feel like it comes up in the conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess maybe that's one of the reasons why,
it was too popular.
It's like, oh, it's mainstream,
Oh,
like,
yeah. You gotta go.
And I like less mainstream stuff too. I like a lot of weird, under the radar stuff, but this soundtrack to me was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. And so was the song that this next one comes from, Seasons by Chris Cornell. And this is from the Singles soundtrack, which in the 90s was like a massive soundtrack as well.
Yeah. Great, fantastic soundtrack. Definitely remember this movie. And this song, it took me a while to pick a song from this. Is one of my favorites. I think it's, kind of Chris Cornell's quintessential, his voice to these lyrics. And I love the movie. It's kind of, I was in college, working at a bar. I was DJing and bartending at this bar, and at the height of grunge. So this kind of, takes me back. So it's cool just to kind of reminisce about those kind of things and share those memories, and this song kind of helps with that.
Yeah, this whole soundtrack just kind of takes me back to like the 90s. Like I was in college then, and all the bands that are on this soundtrack were just so, huge at that point in time. And Chris Cornell was doing Soundgarden at that point as well, but I don't know. I was kind of preferred when he went solo than some of the stuff with Soundgarden for whatever reason, but I just love his voice, and you really hear it here. So great pick there. All right, track 8. This is a cover song. It is Because by Elliot Smith.
Yeah, American Beauty. So one of my all-time favorite movies. We were actually talking with my with my daughter. I was like, American Beauty. It's like, I haven't seen that. I'm like, every time she says that, I'm like, all right, that's what we're watching tonight. She's like, but it's creepy. I'm like, yeah, it is creepy. It is a creepy movie.
How old is your daughter?
She's 22.
Okay. Just for the listeners out there who don't know, just to give some context.
But it's like, it's still kind of weird. It's like, you really want to watch that with your daughter? I'm like, I don't know. But it's, they kind of, I was at the Sinners premiere, and they kind of put us on the spot. They were doing interviews on the red carpet, and they were like, "What your 4 favorite movies?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And it was a company called Letterbox, which I had never heard of. Okay. And I did the interview, and it ended up being posted on all these sites with all the rest of the cast. And my daughter was like, "You did a Letterbox interview." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I don't know what that is." It's like, that's a big deal. I'm like, "Okay." But I picked, and I didn't know they were going to ask it, so I kind of had to.
Right on the spot. That would be hard.
Yeah. But I had a few, and nobody picks comedies. Like all the other cast members, they were like, "Oh, these," most of them picked these really artsy.
Right. You got Citizen Kane and Casablanca. Yeah.
Movies I'd never heard of, some of them.
Right.
But I was like, all right, Goodfellas.
Sure.
And American Beauty was the other one. Yes. And I was like, oh, and I said, all right, Caddyshack. Yeah. And The Jerk with Steve Martin were my picks. And I'm like, not enough people pick comedy. So
Totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah. So those were my picks, and I stand by them.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and this is a great. I mean, American Beauty. I think it won. Did it win Best Picture? Or was it just Best Actor with Kevin Spacey? I
I
forget.
think it was nominated for
Yeah,
Best Picture.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I mean, the movie was pretty big when it came out, and then this was kind of peak Elliot Smith as well,
yeah,
because it wasn't
yeah,
long after Good Will Hunting came out, where he was a big part of that soundtrack as well.
yep, yep.
Um,
And a lot of these artists are no longer with us because they had all these,
yeah,
bats in the cave that they were dealing with. Chris Cornell and Elliot Smith, and
yeah.
so yeah, it's I identify with a lot of these artists and what they go through.
All right, track 9. This is "Take Me Down" by Gary Clark Jr.
Okay, so this was in the movie Deepwater
Deepwater
Horizon.
Horizon. Okay, yep.
And like I said before, this was like my first opportunity to be, really a pretty decent sized role in a big movie with all these stars. And um, in the closing credits, uh, "Take Me Down" is played over the closing credits, and you know when this happened, when this BP disaster happened, the oil spill, a lot of the news footage was really focusing on the environmental impact. They
Hmm.
just had they were focusing and just filming all the oil spilling into the ocean, and
Right,
that was
right.
it. That was like, this is news. This is what's news. And I'm like, well, like 11 people died,
Yeah.
you know, um, in this disaster. And so a lot of the friends of mine were playing people in the movie that had passed away.
Hmm.
So at the premiere, we're watching this movie with the families of the people that were in this movie, and there were people that were on the rig that were, in the disaster, that were on set with us, kind of as
Oh, wow.
consultants, you know, um, and so that was a pretty profound. I didn't never wanted to meet the guy that I played because he was kind of a antagonist, I guess you could say, in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this music plays over the end, the
Hmm.
song with when they're kind of memorializing all the guys that were killed. So that was pretty incredible experience. And then went to the premiere in New Orleans. It was actually a black carpet instead of a red carpet, for the oil.
Ah, for the oil. Yep.
Yeah. So and so we all watched the movie with all these families, and we're hearing from them that we did a good job, that we portrayed it, honestly, and with respect to their families, which means the world. And Gary Clark Jr. was at the after party, and he played the song at
Oh,
the
wow.
after party. And I'm sitting there watching it live, and with my wife was with me, and Gina Rodriguez, who's one of the other
Yeah.
stars of the movie. You want to talk about surreal, man? Just listening to that, and I
You
had a
had to have
guy.
teared up a little bit, right?
Yeah, man, it was. I mean, there wasn't a dry in the premiere after
Yeah.
for the end credits, and
Hmm.
yeah, I'm at the airport and I'm getting ready to leave, and Dylan O'Brien, the guy he played in the movie,
Hmm.
was at the airport, and he came and talked to me and was like, "Hey, man, I just want to thank you. You guys really did a good job, and told it honestly and with respect to everyone who was involved." And so that that means more than any director, producer telling you how great
Yeah.
you are. It's the people
Yeah.
that actually lived it, telling you. I've had being from South Louisiana, I know a lot of people that work in oil and gas. My wife
Yeah.
works in oil and gas,
Yep.
and because so they had some critiques about the movie. So they're like, "Yeah, man, I saw the movie," and they're like, "It was all right," and it was just like, "All right, man." Like, the guys who were there,
Yeah.
uh, that lived it, they let us know we did a good job. So I
So was
not
that
gonna.
added pressure? I know you said this was like your first kind of prominent role in a really big movie, but was it added pressure knowing like these are real people and a real story? Did that kind of add to it, or is that like which one took priority maybe in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I was so overwhelmed with the you know with the whole setting of being there, and I just wanted to do a good job, and the first scene that we shot, I'm kind of in the scene with Kurt Russell, and Peter Berg's kind of telling me like what he needs me to do, and he just wasn't getting. I had to break through that barrier of the nervous anxiety to really kind of relax and do my job well, and so he wasn't getting what he wanted. So he's like, Dave, it's like, can you just make him Cajun? I was like, yeah, I can do that. The guy I play is not Cajun. He's like from, Maine or somewhere. Right. So they took a little artistic license with that.
Yeah.
And so Cajun has only, the dialect has only been done correctly a handful of times in TV and movies. And I like to think that a couple of those were me. So,
well, being from the area, there's an advantage there versus someone just, Adam Sandler doing The Water Boy. Or something like that.
Right. And John Malkovich is Cajun in the movie as well. And his accent was somewhat, he got a lot of criticism. For that. I talked to the dialect coach on set, and she was like, yeah, it's like I don't need any help. Like I can. But yeah, I want to help John.
Why don't you go talk to John? Probably easier to work through her than just tell John directly. I'd imagine in that situation.
I was like, I could have been, I could have been his dialect coach. I'd probably done it for free. It's like, but yeah, man, that's one of the. So he told me, he's like, yeah, just do it. Do Cajun, and once he said that, and I was able to kind of relax. It's really difficult not to relax and do the Cajun accent or just, general Southern, I can kind of, it helps me kind of relax into the role if I can just kind of do a dialect and Southern or Cajun especially, because.
Well, I'd imagine doing that accent, you kind of have to relax your jaw a little bit, right? So even just from a muscular standpoint, it forces you to do the voice, you have to do that, right?
Yeah. And I always thought, like, I don't know why people get it wrong. It's a really easy dialect to do. It's a really easy accent. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, it's like there are a lot of kind of nuances to the speech pattern and the dialect that people kind of Cajuns talk. They talk kind of fast. They talk like this. And Malkovich's was kind of a little bit of a slow kind of drawl. But there's a lot of kind of unique qualities to it where we'll say yeah at the end or no at the end of something. He's like, it's like, they gonna win? Yeah. So it's like you say things at the end, and I think that's a little more difficult to kind of grasp all those little kind of nuances.
Well, and it's one of those voices that when you hear people do it, they almost start to turn into a cartoon. Like it kind of quickly becomes Foghorn Leghorn, right? And it's like, that is not it, right? Yeah. And I think that sometimes when people speed up their speech, maybe that's what, I don't know, that's the danger maybe there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually did a film, an indie film that not a lot of people saw, but I had to play an unintelligible Cajun. With subtitles. So I was like, oh man, this is exciting. And I took it very seriously because I was like, I want to represent my hometown and my people correctly, So I'm on set and I'm doing all the lines and the director's like, yeah, I can, that's good. But I can still kind of understand you. And I was like, well, man, it's like, I got to make it believable. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask, like you still have to say the words, right? Like it's not like you're just doing gibberish.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I actually got the poster and I framed it. And I put it up on a wall, even though not a lot of people saw it. But
what was the name of the movie?
Cat Run 2. So apparently there was a Cat Run 1, which a lot of people haven't seen, and then they made a sequel, and I got to work on the sequel and play an unintelligible Cajun, which was one of the highlights of my career.
I'll have to check that one out. All right, good. Track 10. This is Aaron Burr, sir, from Hamilton, of course.
Yes. So I'm not a big musical guy. I've seen a few, and oddly enough, my wife is the one who kind of introduced me to, like, we saw Chicago in the theater. And she's like, I think you'll like it. I'm like, okay, well, we'll give it a shot. I don't see me liking a musical all that much. And I mean, 10 minutes into the movie, I'm like wanting to get up and clap, and I'm like, okay, we're in a theater. That's not really acceptable. And she actually saw the original cast, or she saw one of the cast in London.
Oh, okay.
She was traveling for work, and she saw Hamilton in London, and she was like, "Oh my God, it was amazing." She said, "I ugly cried in that theater," and she was like, "We should watch the Disney film with the original cast." And I'm like, "Okay." Again, I was like, I mean, whatever you want. I'm not that into it.
Right.
And so, 10, 15, 20 minutes in, I'm like, these people are from another planet.
Yeah.
Like this is otherworldly, what they're able to accomplish. I just think of Leslie Odom when he comes out for that first, those first few bars of music on opening night, wherever it was. And he's
Right.
like, "How does a bastard son?" And I'm like, his heart must have been just ready to
Right.
explode out of his chest, and it's just what they do in that musical with the singing and the dancing and the movie really pumps me up. Like,
Yeah.
if
The
musical
soundtrack will
theater
get you fired up. I agree.
musical theater can pump you up, like, this is the one to do it. And I tell people, especially people that aren't artsy people who are like involved in sports, I'm like, if I coached a football team, I would have them watch Hamilton the night before the game. And I guarantee you, man, they're going to be ready to run through a brick wall. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what really, and I'd seen a couple musicals, prior to kind of Hamilton coming on the scene, but I agree with you that it's just kind of a next level as far as just like, I don't know, drawing emotion. I guess that's maybe what it is. It's just like getting an emotional reaction out of me, I think. Is
Yeah.
probably
And I mean,
stronger
it's
than
just
most.
with the subject matter and what they're, it's a life or death, kind of, the stakes are so high in this entire show. And I kind of debated on whether or not I was going to pick. There's another song when George Washington
Hmm.
first makes his appearance in the show, and here comes the general,
Yeah.
and it's like he walks out and he's like, "We're outgunned, outmanned," and I'm like, oh, man, just chills. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's yeah, that's what musical theater in general. That's why I go to theater. Why I did theater is to be moved, to make my, to think, to do that for others, and otherwise, why do it? It's like
Yeah.
if you don't want to have a profound experience, then, it's, I don't see the point.
All right. Track 11. This is Sign of the Times by Harry Styles.
Yeah. So, we went and saw Project Hail Mary
Hmm.
with the family. My daughter had already read the book, and she had already seen the movie, and we all went together to see it. And I had already liked this song, and I really like Harry Styles stuff, like his departure from One Direction, which I didn't know much of their music, but his kind of evolution
Hmm.
as an artist. He's kind of has this kind of androgynous kind of David Bowie kind of thing
Yes.
going on, and his just he's really kind of grown as an artist, I think. And this particular song, when we went and saw the movie, the part in the film, who sings it, I'm not going to give anything away, but I got choked up a few times during this movie, and this was one of those times. Michelle Williams, I think her name is. Her character in the film is just super, super understated, showing very little emotion.
Yeah.
And there comes a time where she gets to kind of break out of that and do something very uncharacteristic of her character, and that was just, yeah, it moved me a lot. It was one of 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
that I kind of got a little, I'm trying to hide, getting that stop cry headache. I don't want to, I don't want to make the mistake and go kind of do that
Right,
little,
right.
but I'm an actor. It's like my
Yeah,
emotions are out
you're
there.
allowed to show emotion. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I we listened to this audiobook, my wife and I, on like our spring break road trip this year, and we loved it. We have not seen the movie yet, but I had heard this was part of it, so I'm interested to see at what point it kind of comes about, because I mean we were just blown away by the whole story, and so we're really looking forward to see it on
Yeah.
film. But yeah, especially with this song, which is already emotional by itself, right? Let alone
Yep.
any sort of setting around it.
Yeah. Again, the stakes super high. When
Yeah,
regular people, ordinary people are faced with extraordinary challenges. And them struggling to live up to those
yeah.
challenges and expectations. It's very cool.
All right. Well, speaking of eliciting emotions, this track 12. This is "Your Hand in Mine" by Explosions
Yeah.
in the Sky.
So I really like Explosions in the Sky. I love instrumental bands. I love the fact that they're like, yeah, we're not going to sing. We're
Yeah,
not going to have any lyrics. We're just
this
going
is
to let the
it.
music speak
Yeah,
for itself. And their music is very, very cinematic.
yeah,
And it really, I mean, when I hear Explosions in the Sky, I immediately think of Friday Night Lights,
yep,
because they did the whole soundtrack for the movie, and it's in the opening credits of the TV show. It is sort of, there's kind of a bittersweet kind of connection I have to Friday Night Lights, because this was kind of early on in my career, and I was making all these trips to this was pre-COVID, so I'm going in person to audition for
okay,
Friday Night Lights, and I'm going over and over and over and over again, and can't quite crack the code to get on the show.
okay,
And finally, one of the first roles I ever booked was a security guard at a football game
okay.
on Friday Night Lights, and so I didn't know what I was doing. Thankfully, I got to work with Peter Berg later, and realized by that time that his shooting style is sort of all over the place.
Yeah,
There's a lot of improvisation, and I was very, very kind of like, okay, I don't want to screw up, and my only job was to, Kyle Chandler, the coach.
yeah,
There's this drunk fan. One of the parents of the players is on the field, and he's kind of making trouble, and Kyle Chandler is supposed to say, "Get him out of here, get him out of here," but he was supposed to say something else. Like, I was waiting for my cue to go and escort this guy off the field,
right.
So I'm like, and the first AD, who's kind of runs the show, the first assistant director, kind of runs all the logistics on
Yeah,
set. He was not happy with me when I didn't come in at the right time, and I don't think Kyle Chandler was very happy with me either. He was like, "Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Get him the fuck out of here!" I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's probably where I should go in."
The part that they can't play on NBC. That's
right?
probably
Yeah,
the part
exactly.
where I should jump in.
Yeah, so I go in and I do my thing, and the assistant director comes like, "Come on, you got to get in there faster." It's like, "Well, I was waiting for a cue." He's like, "You don't need a cue, just get in there." I'm like, "All right." So that's another lesson learned. On the job training.
I'm sure. Well, and I'm sure, like you said, like then later when you run into Peter Berg again, you're at least a little bit prepared for, like, okay, he's going to improv, but that's kind of an adjustment too. It's like playing for a different coach every night, if you're on a team or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's one of the unique things about this job is every time you have an audition, it's another job interview, and every time you go to work, it's a whole new set of personalities and artistic. You have a different director, you have a different AD, you have different camera people, all these people. So you have to kind of adapt every time you go to work, and to kind of, a lot of things stay the same, but I'm still trying to grasp the technical side of it. But so it's cool. Like Deepwater Horizon, I mean, that was we would shoot these scenes. He was like, all right, we're going to shoot this today. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for anything you want to shoot. I'm
Yeah.
young kind of, and Kurt Russell was like, it's like, that's not the scene I prepared, Pete. Like, what are we doing? And we didn't know we were shooting from day to day. And when all the explosions are happening, he's sitting there at Peterberg's throwing earplugs at us, like trying to get a reaction from us. And it's just very, very unorthodox.
Well, but and on a movie set like that, where everything's so big, like such magnitude, like you don't get like 50 takes to get something done, right?
Right. Yeah. And you have this window of opportunity when you have to get your line right. And especially if it's like the magic hour and we only have a little bit of daylight left. And you've been sitting in your trailer for 3 hours waiting to go and shoot this scene, and the anxiety building. But yeah, a cool thing about that movie was, Pete is a lot like a football coach. He's an athlete, he's a boxer.
Yeah.
And he's kind of all about, kind of the tough love, like, but he pumps you up. He's like, he's kind of like a coach. He's like, all right, man, let's it's like, all right, you're getting off the rig. What are you going to go do? And I'm like thinking, he's like, come on, man, I'm giving you a monologue. Like, what are you going to do? I'm like, all right, well, I guess guy's South Louisiana. He's probably going to go fishing. He's going to drink a beer. He's going to say, all right, let me see it. So we shot the scene, and I'm sitting there, I'm doing these little boxing moves, even though I wasn't a boxer.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man. And I'm going to be in my boat. I'm going to drink me a beer. I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm dancing around. And that made it into the movie. That was all improv. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm pretty proud of that.
That's awesome.
So I actually, it's like, I'm going to be in my boat. I'm going to catch some sac-a-lait. And I had to ask one of the guys, because I don't fish much.
Yeah.
One of the guys in the movie that worked in oil and gas and is Cajun and does fish. I'm like, can you catch sac-a-lait in this body of water? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. It's like, I'll use sac-a-lait, in Louisiana, that's what happens when you're falling asleep, when you're doing this. If you're in church or whatever, he's like, oh, he's catching sac-a-lait. He's like, when your pole is kind of, so that's a little Louisiana.
I like that. All right. Well, you had included us in your original list. Then you said, wait, do I only get 12 tracks? But I said, after listening to it, I was like, I gotta give him a 13th. So track 13 here. It's The Joke by Brandi.
All
Carlile.
right. I appreciate you keeping that in. I got introduced to her a few years ago, and I just really identify with her whole, the lyrics and her spirituality and what she's been through. And I actually had a buddy who saw a video for her, and he was like in love. He was like, oh man, it's like, I gotta go see her live, So he took his buddy and they went, and he's like, he was determined that after the show, he was going to talk to her, and he was going to have, a relationship was going to be formed. And, and he's at the concert waiting to get in, and he's kind of looking around, and he's like, oh, there's a lot of guys holding hands, and like, man, do you think? I was like, oh, and he's like, do you think they think we're, like, I don't know. It's like, so then he realized, it's like, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess I don't have a chance, but I'm still gonna enjoy the music. And so,
and you can still maybe form a relationship with her. It just may not be exactly what he had in mind.
Yeah. It'll be somewhat platonic. So
that's right.
So this song, it again goes back to kind of your insecurities when you're thinking about following a dream, where you're, you're going to get ridiculed. And I remember hearing this, and I was like, man, I wish I could just go to, all these theater kids in high school or middle school, all these weird misfits that really have a feeling that there's something they want to do artistically or whatever it is, but they feel like they're gonna be shamed for it. And she has this line: "Let them laugh while they can. Let them spin. Let them scatter in the wind." I've been to the movies and I've seen how it ends, and the joke's on them. And it's all about just keep doing your thing, whatever it is, whether it's painting, origami, whatever it is, even if it's engineering.
Yeah.
Something that you feel that something that you're good at, even though it's not a mainstream kind of dream, still follow it, and in the end it'll prove dividends for you. And yeah, and that's she's got another song, The Story, which is which I identify with quite a bit as well, just with dealing with mental health and the image of what everybody sees of what I how I present myself. They see all this success and but they don't know the dark times.
Yeah.
And she says, "You see the smile that's on my mouth, it's hiding the words that won't come out. And all of our friends who think that I'm blessed, they don't know my head is a mess." And that's, I identify so much with that lyric and just with her stuff in general, man. She's so soulful. And she's got so much style. She's so comfortable in who she is. And I'm a big fan.
I totally agree. Yeah, she's incredible. Amazing voice, amazing guitarist, but just an amazing storyteller too. Like I just love listening to the lyrics when like she has a new album come out, because it's always something like this where like you can pull something out of it. We talked about Colin Hay earlier. Like he's an amazing songwriter too, in kind of the same vein where it's like it's simple. It's like the message, right? Like why couldn't I put those words together, right? Like that's what I was thinking, right? And she's able to do it. But this is awesome, and I think you've proven through your career that the joke's on them. I think it's amazing to kind of have the career that you've had in a world that's pretty challenging. So man, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
My pleasure, man. I enjoyed that. I think who knows, in a year we might have to have a part 2.
Oh, okay. I might take you up on it. Don't tempt me. What do you got going on now? Like, what are you working on? Where can we find you next? I mean, obviously Sinners is streaming on HBO. Go see that.
Yeah.
And, support you there. But what else?
Well, His and Hers on Netflix was a series. It did really well. That was with John Bernthal and Tessa Thompson. So played the sheriff in that one. I'm getting kind of typecast as law enforcement, which I'm cool with.
Dave, how big are you? Because you seem bigger than most of the actors you're opposite, but actors are notoriously small. So like what dimensions? How tall are you?
I'm like 5'10", maybe 220. But actors are notoriously skinny too. So I always. I always look a little plump next to them. I did a show. I did True Detective season 1 with Matthew McConaughey, and that was right off of Dallas Buyers Club. So he weighed about
$110.
Yeah, he was rail thin, and I was kind of portly. So standing across from him is But yeah, so. His and Hers on Netflix, and I've got a couple of films coming out soon. We did a movie. I don't know if you know who Mattress Mac is.
Okay, I saw this. Oh, I know who Mattress Mac is. Yes, because I'm out of Dallas, and he's just down in Houston, so very familiar. And I really wondered when I saw that title. I was like, are they really doing a movie about Mattress Mac? But I guess so.
Yeah, and most people outside of Texas, if I'm talking to somebody outside of Texas, I'm like, I don't know who that is. But yeah, they were doing a movie, kind of an indie film. The casting director I knew very well. I'm like, okay, because I didn't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
What kind of budget they were going to have. I was like, who are they going to get to play Mac? Because that's really important. That's going to set the tone for the entire thing. It's like, is it going to be a local guy? Is it? And when I saw who they got to play him, who is Billy Magnuson,
Okay.
who is a fantastic actor. He's in the series The Audacity on Apple TV.
Okay.
So he's the lead in that, and he's also worked on The Social Network.
Oh, I recognize
sequel.
him. I just looked up his picture. Yes, I definitely know who that is.
So I shot a scene with him, and I think it was actually the first scene, the first shot of the entire movie was the two of us, which I was like, okay, no pressure, but I like to think we set a tone for the rest of the movie, and in a positive way. But yeah, when I saw they had him, I was like, okay, this might be something,
Yeah.
He's a heavyweight, man. So,
well, we look forward to seeing that as well. And we'll definitely take you up on that part 2 here in a year or so, and get caught up on where things are at and what other projects you're working on. But if you want to find out more about us, check us out at Super Awesome Mix on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. We've got more mixes to work on. So for Dave, this is Matt. I will see you next time.